all of what NASA is. So that was pretty funny that that was in there. And then I started to develop a cramp from writing some of the same themes over and over. And I'm going to tell you what some of those are. In the fire department, probably the best job is Chief of Ops. I don't think anybody would argue that AC of Ops is the culmination of what we come to do, running the operational mission. And the number of times that I read my best incident commander, best fire ground officer that I have, outstanding mitigation of incident. I mean, it just was on and on and on. It was a constant theme. His fire ground savvy is uncomparable. He is unparalleled, and it's one of those things that will always stand out about George. Next, I started to write the word camaraderie. And I had written it so many times from all the times that it was listed into his reports that I want to tell you some of the things that he did to build camaraderie. Fire department musters, took care of deployed families. Firefighters Association, top 3, tier 2. Running club, community involvement. There was no end to the people in the community, in the Air Force, that he touched. And for that, he will always be recognized and respected. Next, we'll talk a little bit about his knowledge, training, and how he shared that. He augmented IG training teams on multiple occasions, shared that knowledge, and was a respected expert across our community. And then, what's more, I'm sitting at work at Spandau, and picks up the phone. He's like, "Hey, Doug, it's Master Sergeant Shields." I'm like, "George, you're a tech sergeant." He goes, "Not right now, I'm not. Come to the MPF." And so I walk over to the MPF. Sure enough, he's got these step-promoted stripes right on his sleeve. So that says everything. I don't know but a handful of guys in my career that have been step-promoted. George was one of them, and that tells you what kind of guy he is. And then I could talk about George the father. Anybody who knows Lindsay and Little G knows that they're his life. Their successes speak for themselves, and anyone who knows him knows the love that he shares for them. Now, all those things that I talked about are true. They're very important. But everybody, as Specialist George, has one thing about them that stands out. I'm going to tell you what that is. When I switched over, I used to get the question all the time, what's it like being commissioned? What's the difference? And it depended on who asked me the question. Most of the time I just said I missed the camaraderie. But when somebody that was a firefighter asked me, I found I said I missed the brotherhood. And there's a severe difference between those two words, between camaraderie and brotherhood. Anybody that's ever worn the badge understands the difference. It's a deeper understanding, and it's a deeper calling. It's inherent within the badge. It's inherent within the creed. It resonates more strongly in some of us than it does in others, and George is one of those people. Those select few are people that I call a guardian of the brotherhood. They're the ones that set and enforce very strict standards. They lead by example, and then they reward fairly the people who stand up and who separate themselves. George is one of those people, and it's for that I will most remember him. In short, George has bled red, white, and blue his entire career, his entire life. But our military and our nation is better because he bled Air Force blue for 21 of those years. I'd like to close with a quote from an ancient philosopher, Heraclitus. He said, "Life is not strictly a state of being, rather it's a matter of becoming." Air Force Fire Protection became better because of your expert knowledge and because of your leadership. All of us, all of your friends became better because of your friendship, because of the way you touched us. And today, on behalf of all of those, I wish you guys the best of luck as you become a civilian. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the Air Force Meritorious Service Medal. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Air Force Meritorious Service Medal, 2nd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Master Sergeant George E. DeShields III. Master Sergeant Shields distinguished himself in performance of outstanding service as Assistant Chief of Operations, Fire and Emergency Services Flight 96 Civil Engineer Squadron, 96 Civil Engineer Group, 96th Air Base Wing, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. During this period, Sergeant Shields provided superior leadership to the flight, supervising daily operations for 87 firefighters and managing 7 fire districts, ensuring the protection of 724 square miles of property, aircraft valued in excess of $13 billion. Additionally, Sergeant Shields commanded an emergency involving a Canadian airliner with smoke in the flight deck. He quickly established communications with the flight crew and coordinated rescue efforts, ensuring the safety of 53 civilian passengers. Furthermore, Sergeant Shields was mission-oriented, directing the safe mitigation of an A-10 aircraft with hung armed Maverick missile on board, averting major disaster and saving the aircraft. And finally, Sergeant Shields' leadership and dedication was instrumental in the flight winning the Air Force Material Command Best Large Fire Prevention Program in 2006. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Shields culminates a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself, the United States Air Force. Signed, Dean R. Clemens, Colonel, United States Air Force, Commander, 96th Air Base Wing. We will now retire Master Sergeant Shields.
Publish the order.
Department of the Air Force Special Order Number AC-019952, dated 16 July 2007. Effective 30 September 2007, Master Sergeant George E. DeShields III is relieved from active duty, 96th Civil Engineer Squadron, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, and is retired effective 1 October 2007 per Air Force Instruction 3203 in the grade of Master Sergeant by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. With that, we're gonna give him the certificate of retirement. Certificate of retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Master Sergeant George E. DeShields III, having faithfully served and honorably was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of October 2007. Signed, David W. Itzani, Brigadier General, United States Air Force, Program Executive Officer for Weapons and Commander of the Air Army Center. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Captain Hunlocker will now present Sergeant Shields with a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States. Certificate of appreciation for service in the Armed Forces of the United States, Master Sergeant George E. DeShields. I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contributions and honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of a nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for your happiness.